Guys, I am very excited for this video because it has been a little while since we made a Let's Talk Clen video. Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Kyle. I am your guy with many YouTube channels, and welcome back to another Let's Talk Clen, everybody, where I ask you guys to jump into the Discord server, which, if you are new here, by the way, pin comment, description down below. We would love to have you there. And I ask you guys to ask me a question, whether it's about Fortnite or anything really in general. We dive into lots of different topics. I'm excited for it, guys. Let's get started. Why does Fortnite have more ups and downs than most games? Usually a game like COD would say has been on the decline. Some games are just solid, but Fortnite has always been a couple seasons of OMG, this is so good, then an S season, then oh, that was a bad season, and it has a cycle. Why does Fortnite have this cycle? To be honest with you, and I'd love to know what you guys think about this in the comments, I can't really pinpoint it. Is it because Fortnite has a bigger player base, like more I would say that Fortnite has some of the most passionate players of all time. They have so many passionate players to the point where people who hate the game force themselves to play the game, but I feel like that's still with a lot of other games in general. I wish I could answer that one, but I don't know. Maybe it's because, you know what? It must be because Fortnite changes so often, because realistically, what game changes? The gameplay, the loot, the skins, everything about it so often. That must be it, right? Now I'm brainstorming off the top of my head. That one's gotta be it. But I'd love to know what you guys think about it down below for that one. Let's continue on. Do you think it'd be a bad idea to give all modes equal attention like some say? Well, as long as they continue on with the great attention that Battle Royale has been getting. If you want to bring all of the other modes and get them the same amount of attention as Battle Royale, why wouldn't that be great? That'd be fantastic. But if you have to knock Battle Royale down a couple pegs in order to bring everything else up and onto Battle Royale's level, then I would say no, because Fortnite, and I know I'm going to hear it in the comments, I know Save the World is like technically the core of Fortnite, the beginning of Fortnite, but Battle Royale seems to be like the foundation of Fortnite, and that is what most people will probably forever come to Fortnite for. So I think that they need to make sure, I'm so pro Metaverse, but they need to make sure that Battle Royale is always their first priority. Hey Kyle, I don't mean to be rude, really love the content, hope you don't take this as hate. You seem to be quick to dismiss people's arguments as being NPCs. Don't you think it'd be better to understand their argument and respond to it? I'm not saying you always do this, but I've noticed a bit more recently. Still one of my favorite creators. Dude, no hate taken at all. That was very nice of you to say. I really appreciate that, Spider-Man somewhere out there. Anyways, so this is a little bit of a misconception that a lot of people, and I think that I've only been getting it more because the channel's been growing, which I'm very thankful for, because I do get a few of these comments, and I do, like, honestly, I'll be fully transparent. I call a lot of people NPCs. The only time that I do that, though, is when you can just tell that people aren't thinking for themselves, people got their opinions off Twitter, and it's some, like, really, like, weird blanket statement for just blindly hating on Fortnite is typically when I do it. And you can just tell for the people who have, like, legitimate criticisms and the people being NPCs. I don't know if you guys can do the same thing, honestly, but I can look at people, I can look at what people write and I go, I know exactly where you got that from. In that case, I'd call people NPCs. And the misconception I was talking about is, I really do understand where a lot of people are coming from. Take the Battle Pass, for example. That's one that I just made. Ultimately, I don't think that Battle Pass skins should come back, but I totally understand where everybody's coming from. That is always a goal of mine, is to understand where everybody else is coming from, especially when it comes to a game as it shouldn't be, but as divisive as Fortnite. So yeah, I do call people NPCs, but I only call, again, I only call people NPCs to the points where you can tell that they just got their opinion because they read it from somewhere. I don't do that for the vast majority. You got to think about it. I get thousands upon thousands of comments. I don't do that for the vast majority of them. So absolutely no hate taken. I like the pushback every now and then. How do you imagine Fortnite looking and being like by the time of Chapter 10X, whichever name they'll choose? I would imagine by then that the Metaverse will be like fully kicked in, fully to effect. I would really hope that at that point, people are going to be able to make their own Battle Royale experiences. I just think that the Metaverse is going to succeed. And I think by the time that Chapter 10 or Chapter X comes, that will absolutely be the case. And I don't know about it being like fully in effect, but I think that it'll be in a much better place than it is right now. Recently I've had a little bit of a worry because we have supposedly Chapter 1 OG coming back. I'm worried about the state of Battle Royale, because if they continue on with the trend of what they've been doing in Chapter 5 and a lot of questionable things they've been doing to Battle Royale, I worry that they'll be like, oh, well, you could just play Chapter 1 again. So I worry about the future of Battle Royale, but I don't worry about the future of Fortnite, if that makes sense. Can you make a tier list ranking the community or Discord members? I would actually love to do this. Once we get the channel massive, I'll get a bunch of people who legitimately wouldn't have their feelings hurt. I'll like say, hey, if you want to be in this tier list, you're more than welcome to join, but I might have something negative to say about you, which obviously I wouldn't have anything negative to say. I don't think there's a community member that I actually dislike even one little bit. But of course, like when you're ranking everybody, somebody will end up being on the bottom. This is something that I would have fun with. This is something that I would love to dive into one day. But the problem is, I think the vast majority of people, or not, sorry, not the vast majority of people, I don't know. The vast majority of people would be okay with it. But the problem is the people who are soft. And they would ruin the experience for everybody. So the only way I could do this is if I say, hey, if you want to be part of this, you got to be part of it. Great. But I could see people even just joining because they want to be part of it and then getting butthurt because, wow, they're not as high of a placement as Got a Bolt for you, you know? You know what I'm getting at there? Kyle, how do you feel about the 2025 lineup for games? I feel like Epic needs to really lock in with Fortnite next year if they want to remain on top, especially when GTA 6 comes out. Now, I'm very excited. Black Ops has been fun so far, and at the time of recording this video, I still have not done a Black Ops stream. I'm definitely going to be doing that. I'm at the point now, though, where I don't think that anything is going to overtake Fortnite. I actually don't think that Fortnite needs to lock in with Metroid coming out, especially with GTA coming up. Everybody said BO6 is going to be the Fortnite killer. Everybody, since 2018, any new game's been coming out, it's like Fortnite really needs to lock in. Fortnite really needs to make sure their game is really fun to play right now, and it just never works out. So I'm done. Personally, I'm done believing that. For GTA 6, I know that's going to be a massive game, but Fortnite's going to be fine. It's been fine since 2018, and it's going to continue to be fine. But for the lineup of games, I am super excited. Gaming as a whole right now, in my opinion, I'd love to know what you guys think about this. Gaming as a whole right now is top tier. I'm having so much fun, and I'm having trouble with different things that I want to actually play. Like, I've been playing Overwatch here and there too, and that's really fun. Like, I'm having a blast with gaming right now. Okay, here's an interesting one. We can always count on Mark for this type of stuff. Choose one to defend you. The rest will try to eliminate you. Which one do you choose? Now, we have 85 of, the business turrets. It was escaping me for a second. 3 tanks, 1 mech, or 105 raptors. Okay, here's the problem. Are we talking about if I'm playing Fortnite or if this is something that I have to deal with in real life? Right? I don't know, because if it's real life, I'm not surviving any of them. If I'm going to answer both of them, assuming that it's real life, 105 raptors is at the bottom of my list. I do not want to be ripped apart by 105 raptors. They would absolutely catch me. The business turrets would lock in. I'm not going to play the loophole game and being like, oh, I can just stand far away from the business turret. No, if I'm around and there's 85 business turrets locked in on me, that's also something that I don't want, but I'd rather have that than the raptors because that would be a quick death. The raptors would just rip me apart. Not that that wouldn't be a quick death. Now, the question is, would I rather go up against 3 tanks or 1 mech? I would pick to go up against 1 mech because at least it might be a little bit slower. No, then again, the tank might be able to, I'm going to go up against 3 tanks because at least like when it's like kind of slow, right? That's my best shot at getting away from it. The mech would mow me down and probably just spin around or stomp on me, right? Now, if I'm playing Fortnite, then I'm choosing the 105 raptors. I could probably outrun them. I could, oh, I'm an idiot. Choose one to defend you. All right, well, let's do this again. I'm going to keep that in the video. Sorry. I just reread that. So, who do I want to defend me? I want the mech to defend me because it can stomp on the business turrets. Oh, so I have to choose one to eliminate and one to defend. Wow, I'm a big fat idiot. Okay, so I'm choosing the mech and the business turrets. The mech will just walk through all the business turrets and stomp on them all. That's what I'm rolling with. That's exactly what I'm rolling with. I'm sorry. Let's continue on. Is there anything you would change about the metaverse? I actually think that Fortnite's on a really good track right now. The only thing that I would change is some things in Discovery. For example, like the buy Epic stuff, I would keep at the very top. I know that Epic Games really wants you to scroll through and maybe find a map that you like, and I'm sure that works here and there, but I think the players have been frustrated enough to a point where it's time to put the Epic made modes at the very top. If someone wants to play creative, they'll go look for some creative maps. And again, I'm sure that works here and there. I'm sure that sometimes go, oh, look at this Zone Wars map. That looks cool. I'm sure that happens. I don't think it happens enough to where you need to upset your player base. So other than that, like for the metaverse in general, I think they're doing a great job. I don't think that there needs to be any change right now, besides maybe actually, if this is an option, bring back a hardcore storyline team, give us the storyline live events again. That's the only change I would make, but is that even really part of the metaverse? Regardless, that's something that I would change. Which celebrity, famous person do you want to see get an icon skin the most besides you and your friends? Now, I don't know. I'm not too big on celebrities, to be honest with you. The only problem is like, I don't know. I'm not too big on celebrities. For famous people, there are some fighters that I look up to, but even then I don't like look up to them as people. I always found that a little bit weird, to be honest with you. Like, I don't go like, wow, like, you know how people idolize celebrities? I don't do that, but when I spoke about a lot of fighters, if you guys happen to be fairly new to this channel, I have a background in martial arts. There are a lot of fighters that I look up to in the sense where, like, I actually study their fights and I would just implement some of their moves into my own arsenal. So in that sense, I would look up to people. But like I said, for celebrities, it's nothing really that would really make me go, oh, that'd be cool to get into a game. But for famous people, there are a lot of streamers that I still think that would deserve an icon skin. Like Typical Gamer 100% should be the next person. He should have been one of the people that already had an icon skin. It's not so much of like, I mean, there are people that I would like to see, right? But you can't even say myself and my friends. So I would like to see Typical Gamer because he absolutely deserves it. That's what I would like to see. Will you actually lose faith in Epic after Chapter 6 Season 2 if the game stays how it is? Now, if you guys don't know what iCrash is talking about here, I made a video talking about when will I lose faith in Epic Games because I've been extremely optimistic about the game and I keep saying that I'm very, very hopeful for Chapter 6. That's kind of gotten stomped on a little bit since OG. I'm not as optimistic as I was, but I will lose faith in the sense where I'm like, okay, this story is going nowhere. I was mostly talking about the storyline. I was mostly talking about like that old Fortnite charm. I really did think that Epic Games was getting right on the ball again, but then with the way that Dr. Doom ended, excuse me, and I still mean to make a video on that, with the way that Dr. Doom ended, with the way that Chapter 5 seemingly ended, it's making me lose a little bit more faith. The reason that I say Chapter 6 Season 2 is because with the launch of a new chapter and whatever else Epic has in store, it's probably a lot for them to deal with. So I'm willing to cut them some slack if, let's say, Battle Royale suffers a lot at the launch of Chapter 6. If it's not fixed by Chapter 6 Season 2, if we don't get a lot of the things that the community has been wanting, if we don't get things like the bullet drop, if we don't get things like the storyline, I'm talking about more so that I'm not going to give up on Epic Games, but I'm no longer going to be optimistic that Epic Games is like listening to the player base, if that makes sense. Do you think the leakers make the community a worse place by giving people overinflated expectations? 100%. It's not even necessarily like, before I get into it, I don't want this to come off like I'm saying that the leakers are like, I'm gonna ruin the fun for everybody. Like, no, I don't believe that, but I think that what a lot of people overlook is when you miss the OG days, when you miss the charm of Fortnite, I always point back to something like Kevin the Cube. Nobody knew that was coming. All of a sudden, people were playing a game, and then lightning struck, and there was this giant cube. All of the theories, speculation, testing people were doing with it. That is what made old Fortnite have the charm that it did. Now we would have known about Kevin the Cube. Like, let's say that leaks were as bad as they are now. We'd be playing in Chapter 1 Season 2, and then we would hear about Epic Games is working on something for Chapter 1 Season 5 where it's a big block that's going to fall out of the sky, and if you pickaxe it, lightning's going to come up. It's going to be very bouncy. So you're taking away not only the surprise, but all of the fun and testing and weird videos that people can make about it. The old laser beam type videos, testing around, seeing what this cube is doing. And then we would have the map, like the complete map, like panned out too. All right, so it's going to roll at this time every single day. It's going to go from Fatal Fields to Retail Row, and then it's going to conclude by sinking in the water for Loot Lake, and that's going to lead to this codename live event. What is the fun in that? Like, we can still have fun with it, but people always talk about missing how old Fortnite was. That's exactly why, that's what, like, close to 100% of the reason why Fortnite doesn't feel the same for a lot of people. I wholeheartedly believe it's because of leaks. People also have overinflated expectations because leakers also say, like, this thing's gonna happen, this thing's gonna happen. And in Chapter 5, they have never been more incorrect than they have been recently. I think leaks are horrible for a game. Horrible for a game, especially with a game like Fortnite. I was wondering because of today's video, if you read this later, it's the one with the loot station. I'm not accusing Loot of doing this, just using him as an example. If he did clickbait or mislead kids, would you call him out on it? Or would you defend him because you're friends? I'm sure this will come up in years to come. Okay, yeah, I actually hear this a lot too. A lot of people always talk about how, like, oh, you're just agreeing with this person because they're your friend. No, there's a lot of people that, to be honest with you, that surround me that kind of feel the same. But what people don't forget is there are a lot of people that I disagree with that I also talk about in the Fortnite space. For example, again, I'll bring you right back to the Battle Pass video. We just had an entire stream where Jojo Josiah and I disagreed with each other about Battle Pass cosmetics coming back. When it comes to that, and this just shows how much I need to make more Let's Talk Clen videos because it was a while ago, the video I made about Loot Station. If Loot Station did mislead and clickbait kids, I wouldn't sit here and defend it. I think that would be clickbaiting gone too far. I've spoken about where I lie on clickbait. As long as the video delivers, let's say, like, again, just using Loot Station as an example. Loot Station uploads a video, says how to get XP fast. It's a flashy thumbnail. It looks good. You know, it's very, very clickable for somebody. as long as the video shows you how to get some XP, I don't care. That's kind of how I sit on it. But I would never see any, like, something I disagree with. Let's say, like, if somebody was misleading kids and the video had nothing to do with what the title was about or anything like that, I wouldn't sit here and defend it. Why would I? I would never do that. I wouldn't actively go out because, again, these people are my friends. I wouldn't actively go out like, hey, shame on you. That's not okay. I would do that if it was like a Dr. Disrespect type situation, right? If it's something that I need to cut him out of my life for. But if somebody's doing something I don't agree with, I'm honestly not going to call them out on it. Because, again, why do that? We're friends. But I wouldn't sit here and I would actively defend it. I would never do that. The three main creators I'm talking about may not think the way I do, may feel differently than me. They may ignore issues within the game and talk about how good it is. But that does not mean go and hate raid them. That does not mean harass them. We're all grown men, one who has a child. How did you turn this into... Oh, okay. I thought that quote sounded familiar. Sorry. How did you turn this into him saying that you guys were hate rating him and that you should have a higher maturity because you have a child at Clen? He was literally telling his community not to harass you because you guys disagree, especially due to the fact that you have a child to deal with and don't need to deal with the harassment. Okay, first off, before we get into this, this user's referring to Benji Pie's video that he made about Clark, Jojo, and myself. I almost included Dagwami in that, but it was not about Dagwami at all. Just to keep that clear, Dagwami is not part of it. I almost said that. Anyways, first of all, the beef has been completely squashed. We spoke to each other. So I'm not looking... I'll respond to this, but I'm not looking to further escalate anything. But this is a question that was asked, so I'm going to sit here and defend it. Watch the video. You can't seriously try to respin this back on me. Watch the video. You knew exactly what he was doing. The reason that he brought up me having a child was to kind of show that I was behaving a little bit and I should be acting a little bit more mature than I am, and it's very, very evident within the video. Do not spin that any other way. I did not spin anything. Go watch the video and you can dictate that for yourself. And I made like, what, a half hour, 45 minutes long video defending exactly all of my points. I was very clear in the video, and honestly, I did a very good job refuting everything. That's even one tiny little snippet from the rest of the inappropriateness of that video, I should say. So it's very important though. It's very, very, very important to know everything's all good. Everything's all good. I was just responding to this, okay? I'm not looking to escalate this any further. Regardless, let's continue on. If you had control of the Fortnite storyline, what would you do? I don't know if I would want to continue Donald Mustard's storyline or not. This is actually a video that, you know what? I think I'll record this video right after this. If talking about whether or not it's a good idea to continue with Donald Mustard's storyline, you know what? That's something that you can wait for tomorrow's video on. But I have very conflicting thoughts, on how I feel about that. Is there anyone you would like to interview one day that is almost unrealistic? Unrealistic. Okay. I mean, I'd be down to have any of the giant creators. I would love to get in contact with Nick 30 one day, but I don't think it's unrealistic at all. I wholeheartedly believe that we're going to make it in the Fortnite space. I wholeheartedly believe that I'm going to take over YouTube in the Fortnite space, the MMA space, even if you want to talk about like the movie space, the reaction space. I want to have my toes dipped in all senses of YouTube, and I want to be one of the biggest YouTubers one day. How well do you think Sonic 3 will do in the cinemas compared to the Mufasa movie? How well do I think it'll do? I imagine it'll outperform, but then again, like Mufasa's pretty big. I actually don't know. If I had to guess, I'd say Sonic 3 did better because Sonic has been having like a lot of hype around the movies. But that also might be because I'm paying a little bit more attention to it and I'm not paying attention to how Mufasa is doing in the movies. That's a toughie. I think they're both going to succeed. Sonic has momentum. Mufasa does not have momentum. That's something that I think is important to consider. Regardless, I cannot wait to watch it. What's interesting, actually, if you guys want to continue the conversation about Sonic, on my other channel, I have a reaction to the most recent trailer where they introduced Shadow, and I was very, very excited about it. But if you don't want to watch that video, we have another video just above that. YouTube thinks to like this video the best over from the channel. Thank you so much for being here, guys. Take care.